It's time for a movie review, and today I'm going to review Motherless Brooklyn. It was released in 2020, directed by Edward Norton, produced by Norton, along with 4 or 5 others. There'll be a slide, so you can check it out. Also, Edward Norton was responsible for the screenplay. It's based on a book, Motherless Brooklyn, by Jonathan Lethem. And now to the cast. In the lead role, Edward Norton. He's Lionel Ezrock. He's a gumshoe. Bruce Willis is Frank Muner, Lionel's boss. Guga Martha plays Laura Rose. Alec Baldwin plays Moses Randolph. And his younger brother, Paul, is played by William Dafoe. Bobby Caanavale plays Tommy Vermont. Cherry Jones as Gabby Horowitz, and there's a number of others, and again they'll be on the slide, so you can have a good feast at the cast. To the awards, slim pickings, it has to be said. Best Original Score nomination at the Golden Globes for Daniel Pemberton. That was the main awards. There were some other sort of second division type awards where it got recognised, but generally not many people really valued this movie, which I find quite surprising, really. And I think I got the year wrong because it was released in 2019. Apologies for that. Details then of this movie. Actors who take on character parts where the character has an affliction, either physically or psychologically, have through cinema history provided cinema goers with outstanding performances. We can think of Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man as an autistic man, and then John Hurt as the Elephant Man, and Al Pacino as a blind man in Scent of a Woman. In Motherless Brooklyn, Edward Norton's performance is amongst those huge talents. His condition is Tourette's syndrome, and it's managed to an extent by the necessity to work as a gumshoe, which is a private detective. Let's get on to a little bit more about that. Movie Motherless Children. Of course, the movie title is pretty self-explanatory. It's set in Brooklyn, and it's about a childhood without a mother figure. But Norton's character, Lionel, as I say, suffers from this Tourette's syndrome, which is a condition that's seen with physical twitches and bursts of wordplay that are usually poetic, not profane, and his right brain seems to be constantly at work looking at details, orientations, and it's in constant flux. However, this does enable Lionel, whose mind is buzzing around, to have a keen sense of what it's like to have a photographic memory, and this enables him to piece together the information regarding the tragic murder of his boss, played by Willis. He's unable to piece together puzzles of events, which is perfect for the job as a gumshoe. He's working for Mina, as I say, and Mina rescued Lionel and other members of the agency from an orphanage when they were youngsters, and they all revere Frank. So when Frank goes to a meeting with so-called clients and end up dead, it has a profound effect on all, particularly Lionel. And although the business falls into disarray, Frank's widow seems rather reluctant to take on any responsibility and sort of piecemeal hands over responsibility to Caanavale's character. Lionel, in contrast, is keen to get stuck in to tracking down those responsible for Frank's murder. Ability at detection opens up a Pandora's box of local government corruption involving high-powered figures within the political administration. We witness a very dysfunctional family, the Randolphs, the infighting and pressures with regard to political decisions, with corruption at the highest level. And this is focused actually on housing contracts, housing projects, with huge financial rewards that are apparent. Now, Lionel tracks the trail to a classy jazz trumpeter played by Williams and a female black rights activist played by Motherless. He also then ends up tracking down the two brothers, Randolphs, played by Baldwin and Dafoe, respectively. The movie's set in the 50s and the economy is slowly recovering after World War II. There's a lot of housing development taking place, and politicians and businessmen are joining together in legal and illegal contracts to improve housing within the city. Frank's final breath happened with Lionel kneeling beside him, and we get a sort of insight as Lionel's desperate to understand the sounds coming from Frank's final breaths, which are getting weaker and quieter. Lionel attempts to grasp the message, and this scene's repeated throughout the film as Lionel's photographic memory tries to piece together exactly the information that Frank's trying to convey. This he's determined to achieve, to understand why the murder took place. Now, Lionel finds out that Frank was following a black lawyer, Laura Rose, and her father runs a jazz club, and he gets hooked up in there with the girl, and from there the trail leads to the activities of the local politician Mo Randolph, played by Baldwin. And Randolph just happens to be the most powerful politician in the administration when it comes to outing developmental contracts and land acquisition in the city. We also get to meet the younger brother Paul, played by Dafoe, and there are certainly some issues about the family dysfunction. Paul's aware that his brother has been involved in various activities that he would rather remain private, and so this Paul has over his brother as he tries to obtain certain political decisions that his brother is making, and from that Paul, that is, expects to benefit from them with certain interest groups. It's a web of malfeasance for sure, and it slowly unwinds in the movie. There's a great musical score with Wynton Marsalis, the principal musician, and it certainly helps you unravel the wrongs, which are many. And there's a meticulous detection going on by Lionel throughout the film. However, he does end up getting a few beatings for his nosiness, and Laura Rose becomes a shoulder to rest on when he's in a spot of bother. She's able to explain what's going on, and we see his determination, his persistence to the extreme to try and get to the bottom of the matter. We also get a taste of systematic racism and the usual catalogue of oppression of society's weakest members. It also has some memorable scenes, one specific one involving Mo Rudolph, Baldwin's character, as in talking to Lionel, he goes through the benefits following his own intervention in issues. And he tries to do a sales pitch on Lionel, and conveys that along the line there's always a few casualties that have to be sacrificed. The scene was reminiscent of a movie earlier in Baldwin's career, Glengarry Glen Lost, when he delivered a speech to a number of salesmen about closing in the real estate business. And he is absolutely ruthless. And so that sort of came back to my mind whilst watching this scene evolve and unravel. So there we are. It's a pretty good movie, it has to be said. It takes a little while to get into. Norton's a labour of love, this movie. His direction, his screenplay, and of course his acting is 5-star. It's a classy sort of movie. I suggest you give it a watch. It's called Motherless Brooklyn, released in 2019.